Okay, we have a
Yeah.
question here.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up with his question too, and then I have one. You said that you want to put them on the bus and take them back over the border, but what if they're really guilty? Are they going to serve whatever crime they committed, then put them over the border?
No, we're going to send them back over across the border. Do the taxpayers want to continue to pay if somebody's been found or accused of drunk driving? Do we want to house them at $70 a day? They're going to get out anyway. Here's what's happening though. They're getting out anyway because they're getting bond, they're getting probation, they're fleeing anyway when it comes to time when they get convicted. You follow me?
I do follow you,
Okay.
but my concern is, they do drunk driving and someone dies because of that, and they can just hit anybody they want. We ship them back, they come back.
Oh, no. If there's a death, if there's manslaughter, I'm not talking about murders and child molesters and that. I'm not talking about all crimes going back. I mean, they're not going to get a free ticket. But I'm talking about property crimes, if they steal your lawnmower, or if they have a first-time DWI, or if they've, taken somebody's purse, or if they've done some low-level crime, a first or second degree. Now, I'm not talking about murder.
That's what I need you to
No,
clarify.
oh no, absolutely.
And then my question also was, you said that you want to reduce the court budget and increase productivity. Can you explain two ways how you would do that?
Well, if you move the docket along, and this notion of granting continuances, right now we spend $4 million on indigent care for indigents, for lawyers. We hire lawyers, you're paying for lawyers to the tune of $4 million. Many of these cases, as I understand in talking to the constables, law enforcement, and the commissioners, are being drug out because the dockets are clogged. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. So my thought is, and what we did in Harris County, is we spent money up front, whether it was on faith-based programs or computer programs, to modernize our process so that we as judges can prioritize the cases that are in front of us and thus move them quicker through the program. And we don't have people sitting
1 minute, if we could get one more question in.
Okay, sure.
I hate to rush you, but Betty, I think you had one.
Judge Moore lost the right to keep the Ten Commandments in his courtroom, but you won the right to keep them in your courtroom.
Right.
Why do you think that
Well,
made a difference for you?
Well, my case was not ever decided on the merits like his was. My case was a situation where I had been approached by Senator Dan Patrick during the time that this left-wing gay atheist group sued me. And he said, John, why don't you come on the radio? This guy wants to debate you on the radio. And I said, Dan, I can't do that because I'm the defendant in this case. And I said, but I'll tell you what I'll do, Dan. I'll give you 10 specific questions, and I'll handwrite each one of these out, and if you'll get him to respond to these questions, and I know he'll lie, because I know what's behind his motive, and I know what is in his pleadings to the United States Fifth Circuit. And I told Dan, I said, he will be inconsistent with his answers on your radio show than he is with the answers and what he has asserted in his pleadings with the Fifth Circuit. And sure enough, when he got him on the radio show, he just lied through his teeth. We transcribed those answers, attached it to a motion to dismiss to the United States Fifth Circuit, and it was granted. And that was the end. It was not a case on the merits. It was purely catching the guy fudging. And when you confront liberals and when you hold them accountable, they will crumble. But you've got to meet them head on. And I met them head on with the Bible case. I met them head on in all the porno shops in 1960. I hit them on when I took away Mayor Brown's Metro line and first said, look, citizens have the right to vote on that. That was a huge decision. And it stood, and what I wanted it to stand for was, look, we are accountable to the people. Even judges are got to be accountable to the people. Yeah.
I'm afraid I misread the time. You have a little bit more time than what I
Yeah,
thought.
one thing I'd like to know is, could you describe the events that led up to your deciding to run for judge and actually winning the election and all that?
I mean, back in 95?
1970 or 92?
Yeah, well, it was in 1992 that a Democrat judge, Eileen O'Neill, had granted an injunction during the Republican convention keeping people from praying in front of the local area abortion clinics. Now, prior to becoming a judge, I was heavily involved, and in fact a rescuer myself, in the pro-life movement. I met my wife and we developed our relationships in front of crisis pregnancy centers. She was counseling women in Spanish, and I was there to counsel with men. And we had done that for years and years and years. I have a long history of pro-life activism, and I don't apologize for it. So when this woman came along and decided to throw people in jail for simply praying in front of an abortion clinic, at the time I was a volunteer driver for Tom DeLay during the convention. And I was driving Rush Limbaugh around, Congressman Chris Smith, and Congressman Bob Dornan. And when she made her injunction, those guys said, hey, look, Devine, you ought to run for that. You're a lawyer, aren't you? I said, yeah, but I work for Brown and Root. And I don't know anything about politics. And they encouraged me to do it, and I did it. And in my first write-in campaign, because there was only 2 months before the election, we qualified as a write-in candidate. We got over 80,000 write-in votes to beat this woman. Now, because of the way people wrote my name in with a pencil and where they wrote it on the ballot and so forth, it caused a great deal of confusion and problems, and only 43,000 votes actually counted. But what happened is that 3 days later, one of the clerks in the clerk's office looked over, and there was this huge stack of ballots. And they said, hey, we better put those in the process and see who wins this race. Because it may affect other races. There are some races in there that only won by 80 votes, 150 votes, and so forth. There's 43,000 ballots back there. And so when they put those into the computer and counted them, 5 races changed, just because of the pro-life vote. 5 races changed because of the pro-life vote. Conservative Republicans beat liberal Democrats because of that race. And those folks had voted for me. And so all of a sudden, the pro-life community got a voice in this whole process, a tremendous voice that we, ladies and gentlemen, should not ignore and should not underestimate. Shouldn't underestimate. And I learned right then and there that my position as a pro-life candidate, no matter what it was, is the foundation, and it's my belief totally, that the foundation, innate right to life, is the most basic question that any of us must answer, whether you're an individual or a candidate.
I believe we could love to have you here for about another hour, but we have some other candidates waiting, and so I'm afraid we have to wrap it up.
Okay? He says I got 1 minute left.
Well, I just miscalculated on the time. We added your time up wrong. I
Okay,
apologize.
thank you very much.